Well, there's a young man in a t-shirt. Let's do a rock and roll station. He's got a greasy hair, greasy smile. It says, Lord, this must be nation.
All right. Good morning, my doggies. Good morning. It is November 4th. It's election day. I already woke up, went out, voted after doing my 28-5-20. Got a little sweat, worked out with a few hundred of my dogs around the world who like to get that mind right, get situated. Obviously, by this point, you've already looked. You see the futures down 70 handles. There's probably no real big reason for it, except for the rallies getting like a little selective. Small caps are under a little pressure. Bitcoin definitely leading the way a little bit. And lo and behold, here we are. But anyway, my name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Welcome to today's 630 Club. Been doing this in 2020, where I try and give you guys levels to make adjustments. Look at the keys of the day so you can make the right decision at the right time and put yesterday behind you. If you don't have hedges on and you have too many positions, sometimes you got to look back and see, like, what did you not see? What did you miss? What's your opinions, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, you look here at the chart and you'll see that, like, we've been hovering here. They've been selling strength for 3 days and we've been barely holding on to the 8th day. So this morning, we're going to get a test of the 21-day, which is right here, which isn't the end of the world. Some people are overhedged. Some people are short, saying, the signs are all there. So you got to figure out where you are, and hopefully you're in a position where, cooler heads prevail. And cooler heads will always prevail. Today might be an awesome day, guys. You might be able to add to positions, versa level in the hole, let them come off lows, get more size, and trade around things versus, crawling under a rock and being scared of the action. Never be scared of the action. If you're scared of the action, then you shouldn't be doing this. And chances are you have no go time and you're too overextended. But anyway, let me say hello to some of my dogs. We got Joseph in the house. We got Rod. We got Eli. We got Option Wrap. We got the Sleeping Dolphin. We got Blair. Good morning. What's up? We got Gary. Everyone's waking up and getting their mind right. That's all you could do. Get situated. So right now the SPYs are around 676. We were as low as 674. Here's your 21-day. Here's that gap fill. So what I would do if I were you, and I have some SPY puts on, I have some premium sold, but I'm also in some longs. There were some longs out there that made some sense to be in. So if you're in some positions, you're not being irresponsible. Can't be out of everything. If you're a swing trader, you have to be able to deal with mornings like this. If you're a day trader, today could be a beautiful opportunity. You're not coming in, you're in no pain. You could test levels and, you could just be in the moment. If you swing trade, you have to know when things kind of feel a little off and, you have limited position, maybe less positions. I know for me, 3 weeks ago, right around here, I was long probably about maybe 12, 14 positions, equities. And now here I'm long 4 plus some options and puts in a hedge. So I'm happy how I'm situated, and I'm going to do everything that I could do. So right here, anyway, this is 674. So real quickly, let's go to the Qs. The Qs, the 21-day was right here. The Qs that is a little bit closer to here. It's filling the gap. This is 612. This would be a gap fill, and this would be a little bit higher. So there's your 21-day right there. This low is what? This is 615. So 615 to 620. So 615 to 620 is probably a spot if we see it in the first 30 minutes, to kind of cover a little bit some of your hedges and see if there's any relative strength. So let's go where the Qs right now. SPYs are down that. The Qs are down 8. So the Qs are right around. Oh, the Qs are only here. Geez. This low is what? This is 620. No, this is 620. Let's see, what is this? This is 624. Ish. So just say 624-ish. So there's actually a lot of room here. You'll see where are the Qs again? The Qs is 624-ish. So Qs are only right here, filling this gap. And everyone's like, and there's a 21-day. So you better be a little bit careful here, guys. Just anyway. So what am I going to look at? I'm going to look at Apple. I am in Apple still. Apple had a good report, good guidance. Sometimes, people like to be safe with Apple. Not saying it's going to happen, but this low here is what? This is 266. Right now, Apple is a little is above it, actually. Look at that. Apple's not even below yesterday's low. Yesterday's low is 266.25. So let's just put that in there. So we know what that is. 266.25. I am long some Apple, and yes, I am. I'm allowed to be. It's they sold some strength, and you're able to buy versus the 8-day. So we'll see if that holds. And I'm probably going to look to buy a little bit more and see how it reacts, versus the futures. What else am I going to buy a little bit of? I probably will buy a little bit more Amazon. Amazon, why would you be so huge, right? You look at this play in Amazon. First of all, we had great options play into numbers. We had the 237.50s and made a ton of money. Then rolled out of those, and we were here yesterday. I'm like, you know what I bought? I bought the 255s just in case Jeff's a seller. Boom. Sold 2/3 of those. So if you sold 2/3, if you made money on our earnings, they can't take it. And if you sold into yesterday's strength, they can't take it. So today's a day you probably will get some market discovery, and we'll see, where can we buy? So this was the prior high here. So this is, I'd be very surprised. I would be very surprised if this gets much below. It's only down. This is like peanuts. It's that 250. It's just filling the gap. So stop jumping off cliffs here. Anyway, Meta. I don't know. Meta's broken. Meta has a big hole in the chart. Meta's different. Look at Amazon. Amazon had a few gap ups. It's got a lot of money behind it. Meta's been under pressure. Meta, there's been no reason to be in this. Listen, today could be an opportunity. You have a big hole in the chart, right? 3 down days below all the moving averages. Meta is not acting special. Meta is not a name you should be in actively. And today, if you're not in it, in a sea of red, it would be kind of cute if it's buyable, right? Meta right here is where Meta is trading at down another 631. There's no reason for any active trader to be. If anything, you guys are probably short that. Look at the whole, no strength, boom. So that's not something you should be in. If you're in a little Apple and you're in a little Amazon, I get it. And if you're in a little Tesla, I get that too. I'm in Tesla too. It's down 11. That kind of sucks, but you know what? We'll figure it out. Tesla looked as if it was ready to go, was strong yesterday. There's some talk about some unions that are going to vote against it and this and that. And some of their registrations are down in China. So there's some reasons for it to be down. Where is Tesla right now? Tesla is at 457. I'd like to see it hold this 454. If it doesn't hold 454, chances are I'm going to have to get rid of a little bit more of it. But this is what Tesla does. Tesla's mean at some points. But anyway, I feel like, what do you say? I feel like Tesla could be good given that Elon said on Rogan pod, hinting at a flying cars. All right. MLD says that today's the end of the world. Every day above ground is a good day. It's not the end of the world. Just you have to figure out what you could have done a little bit different to have a little less pain coming in. Little less pain is always good. Anyway, Google's probably something to go to. Google 275 is the gap post earnings. Google's been really strong. Google makes some sense. If you're in Google overnight, you did nothing wrong. You have to really say to yourself, did I do anything wrong? No, you didn't do anything wrong. Google looked really good. It's holding. It's letting the 8-day catch up. This is 278. So as long as this holds 275, I think Google's just fine. Okay, so these 4 names have been acting best since numbers. So if you're in them, it is what it is. Microsoft's a piece of junk right now. I'm sorry. It is. It got sold on numbers. Big gap here. It's coming in. Maybe today it's worth a look. Microsoft is down another 3. So, chances are I'd rather see you on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down days. You should not be pressing Microsoft and you should not be pressing Meta. If you're short both of these, if you're short Meta and Microsoft, this is a good day to probably cover some. And hey, who knows? Maybe there's a scalp long. Anyway, ASTS is not good. I haven't traded ASTS in 2 weeks. You're right. Time and a place. Look at that. Inside range broke to the downside. So yes, you should not be in ASTS. That's not good after a red dog reversal top. So it bounced back up into resistance, and now it's heading back down to these lows here. Yes, time and place changed. This was when it was awesome. And look at that move. Red dog reversal top. I shorted puts here. This was a decent trade. And then inside and down. A lot of these things had inside and down moves. I knew this guy, George Smith, from back in the day. God bless his soul. I think he passed away. Buried up inside and down. Palantir was a name that they're using as a catalyst to the downside. Last night, when I was sitting here doing my recap, I'm like, if you're long Palantir, you better hope, or not hope, hoping sucks in trading. You better get out of the way if 207.50 doesn't hold. It was like a 210, didn't hold. And then also there was rumors, which we were talking about on the stock, the Twitter show that we do at 3:00, that people thought that they would announce a stock split. So they had great numbers, but it wasn't enough, and no stock split. So the shorts got a little aggressive, and here you are with Palantir. What's supporting Palantir right now? Right now it's down 15 at 191. Okay, so let's move this over. Palantir is let's see. This is this is kind of where it broke out from. This everyone's like, Red Dog, you're not taking Palantir long or short. I'm like, I have no interest. Meanwhile, this is 193, and here's really, this is 186. So anyway, if you are short Palantir and you've been shorting it for a year, you're finally right. Or maybe you put on some puts. My friends have some puts on. They do. A lot of them bought a lot of puts. They have the 190s, so they'll make some money. What I would suggest is you cover a little bit, and then see how it reacts versus a 5-15-minute low. Here's major. This 186 is kind of major. But for now, it's down 15. And if you caught it short, congratulations. Cover some and move on. What about the wolf? What about the wolf? The wolf has been trading well. I remember I told you it was going to go to 16. Well, it went to 16, and I was done with it in here. I haven't revisited it. I'm trying to stay away from all these like idiosyncrasy type stocks, especially with Bitcoin so weaker. It's bad enough I have options for IBIT for Thanksgiving that are not working. IBIT is not looking good. It's trying to hold on to here, but if this was a stock, there would be no reason as a momentum active trader to be in it. But because it's crypto and because it's a time of year, people are giving it the benefit of the doubt. I did it also. But anyway, QS, people were playing for a big OEM news release yesterday, and it didn't happen. So it came in a little bit. But look, so I know for me, I was on my way to Ohio State, and I sold a lot of my options into this move. So I bought some back yesterday, and I'll probably buy a little bit more back, a little bit, because right now it doesn't seem like this is the market for some of these type of names right now. It's just not. Look at the IWM. The IWM, is barely hanging on here, barely. As soon as Powell said that December is not 100%, you broke the 8-day, now down to the 21-day, and it's barely hanging on. What's the slow here? This is 242. So actually, if you look at relative strength and stuff like that, which you should, because if you're an active trader, so this is already at the 50-day. Where's IWM this morning? Down 3. Getting kind of close here. So the indices are going to test the 21-day. The small caps seem like they're going to be testing the 50-day. So what does that tell you? That the small caps are starting to get weaker versus the large caps also. Anyway, Scott, the 2-hour chart of the SPY was overbought for days. Okay, well, that's good. So hopefully you're short at the yin yang, John Boston, making a ton of money. I am still in Poet. Some people are like, Red Dog, are you in any small names? I am in Poet. But thank goodness, I had a lot on here, and I trimmed some into the 7.25. That was where the money raise was. That's where some resistance is. By the way, in the next 3 days, we're going to hear what 2 big investors took down the blocks there. So now I'll buy some back, and this is a name that I'm kind of treating as an investment, not as a trade. I will buy a little bit back and continue to manage it. If you trim some into here, you could buy some back into here. I think November 7th or 8th is when they're going to come out and say which 2 big guys, bought the stock, which is why they brought it down. This is a name for the next 3, 6, 9 months. But anyway, so what do you want me to look at? Do you want me to look at iron? I told you guys yesterday, iron would be a real big barometer of risk. Some people like, what's the news? Why are we down? I'm like, well, I think we're down because they sold strength in iron here, didn't have momentum, didn't have any power. And Palantir, which has been the poster boy of risk, that came out with a pretty solid report. I think their revenues are up 120%. They weren't able to hold it up. So that gave everyone an excuse to sell. Because if you're not in the two best names, that are shown, that are the riskiest ones out there, or if they can't go up anymore on good news, right? Iron was good news, like $1 billion contract with Microsoft, and it couldn't go higher. Palantir, 120% revenue increase. Too bad it's trading at 95 PE. But anyway, with that being said, I think between that and then the small caps and a little bit of a hawkish Fed, and it's just sometimes it's just the way it is. So anyway, can I look at Oracle? Sure, Oracle's been really hard. Oracle, gave you that big exciting move. And hopefully you could have been in it. It was actually showing some relative strength and looked good before that. And since then, it's just been a hard name. Just slowly filling this gap as if the gap doesn't matter. And I'm sure this morning it's probably down a bunch with everything else. So if you're not in it, there's really no reason to be in it. It's below the 8-21 day. It's already filled the gap. Maybe there's a spot down to here, but that Oracle's been really hard. NBIS, I haven't been in this in a while either. Look at that reversal. This is one of those risk crazy PE names also. So once, IRREN was sold and some of those others were sold, look at your sell rules. You could have been buyer here, sell some strength, doesn't hold a prior high, you sell it, goes below a prior low, you get the hell out of the way. And then that happened. What's NBIS doing this morning? I would assume it's down with everything else. It's down 5, another 5. So this is some support. So there's a time and a place for risk stocks. There's a time and place for story stocks. There's a time and place for every stock. It all depends when. What do I think of Burry shorting NVIDIA? I think my buddy Conrad told me he's been shorting NVIDIA for like 6 months. So do I think it's a big deal? Oh, he's so right. Look at that. He's so right. Look at NVIDIA. It's down 4 points. Where's he short from? How long has he been short? I heard she's short Palantir also. Someone said it's since like $80. But anyway, good for you. Listen, at this point, we were in a 3-4 year bull market, and the opportunity cost of fighting this bull tape for the last 2 years has been wrong. I know a lot of traders had a huge year last year. They're having a great year this year. And guess what? If you're fighting it, you didn't. And you probably lost a ton. And who knows if you could have stayed solvent until finally you're right. So now if things change, and just say, what does that mean if things change? Well, if all of a sudden the SPYs, break, like remember here, things tried to change. Remember this big potent wide range bar down? And then we rebuilt, and then we took back the moving averages and had no retracement rules. Well, at some point, if we get a day like this and there's no rally back and stocks act like crap, then we're going to get out of the way, and we'll stay out of the way and just day trade and be a little bit more careful and be short, be a lot more short. Some people are like, Red Dog, are you going to buy the blood in the street account today? We're not even 3% off the highs in the SPYs. I don't put the blood in the street account to work unless we're at least 5% off the highs. I put the blood in the street account to work 18 times, and it's been right every time. You know why? Because I wait and I'm patient. 401k. Listen, if you're in a 401k, you're not putting that in cash. You're putting every month. This will help your average cost. If you think all of a sudden Burry's going to be right and it's not going to end well as happening, then it's good to have a blood in the street account because you can create alpha if you do it right. If you look at the chart here of the, go to the monthly, there's been a bunch of times. First of all, look at the monthly. Holy cow, look at the size of this move. Jesus. So yeah, it's a little extended. Jeez, that's the monthly chart of the SPYs. Have you been fighting it since here? Oh yeah, you're so right. Because anyway, yeah, I would, let's go to the weekly chart for a second here. I always chart the weeklies. I haven't done it in a little while. I usually do the weekly when I'm looking at levels, when I want to, put the blood in the street account to work. Anyway, where's the 8 day on the weekly? Right here. What would it need to break to take out some of the elevation? What's this low? This low is 670. 679. It's below 679 right now, right? So this is the 8 day. 670-ish. We haven't been below the 8 day. Look at that. It's actually pretty cool to look at. Thanks for telling me to look at it. We haven't been below the 8 day on the weekly since last Shavuos. No, a long time. Since this whole rally started. So yeah, if something's going to change, it's gonna break below and stay below. It's got to break below and stay below like 668-ish. So let's put that in there. I'm glad you guys. I'm gonna post this too. 668ish is the level. And if it breaks it, who knows? Maybe we'll have a correction for more than 3 days below the, below the spot. And then if it does do it, chances are this is going to be some pretty big support. And by that point, the 8-day, the 21-day will have caught up. And this is right here. This is what's this low? It's like 650ish. I'd put the blood in the street account to work at 650ish. And listen, if you're a member of the Alpha team, you'll know when that is. If you're part of Red Dog Mindset, you're going to get a text also saying, hey, it's time to put the blood in the street account to work. But to me, I don't think it goes to work until at least 650ish, if it's going to happen. Let's go day by day, day by day. But it's good to actually sometimes see a bigger picture. Remember when it was 21% off the highs? This is when I put the blood in the street account work for the second tier. First tier was a little low, and then or a little soon. And what's this level here is 679. Sometimes, listen, guys, it's good to broaden out a little bit to see. It's a pretty big, elevate. Look at that perch it just broke. Anyway, you want to do the Q weekly? We could do the Q weekly too. See where that is. Let's do it together. This is how I mark up charts. I don't have a whole think tank. I don't have like a whole team here. I look at it by my eye level and I see the moving averages and I see what's cooking. I've been doing this for almost 30 years. This is 689.70. Some people like, Red Dog, that's the high of the year. I'm not going to make that call. Some people like, Red Dog, put a gun to head call. What's your gun to head? It's the high of the year. And it's way too early to tell. Today's just a down day. Don't start thinking too much. Maybe today's going to be a great day. Maybe you're going to be able to buy some things versus a 5, 15, 30-minute low. Maybe you'll be able to take your hedges off and we hold in there. So stop it. But this is your weekly. What's this right here? This is 615-ish. But again, I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just trying to, put some of Q's weekly. Oh, I haven't looked at the weekly here in a long time. Wow, it is pretty damn elevated, I will say. Look at that, It's pulled into the 8-day a bunch of times. It hasn't been below the 8-day. So if it wants to pull into the 8-day and you're active, you got to be very careful. But we'll see. It's just today it doesn't mean it, Today could just be a little bit of a shaking of the tree. I'll do more. These are all levels that we were talking about like in April, May when we were worried about the weekly, and this was 22% off the highs. Remember that? That was such an opportunity. By the way, corrective phases are opportunities that help your average cost over time. And if you handle it correctly, it can make you a lot of money. So anyway, I'm going to do more of that. So this is what? This is 10-ish is the 8-day. So maybe the bulls are a little spoiled. Maybe I'm a little spoiled. Actually, let's put this here. This is the gap. This is low here is what? 624. Points of references. That's what we use. We don't use opinions. We don't look around. We look at points of references and see how the market reacts to those points of references. Remember, this is a great spot, 540. Anyway, I would think though, if we do pull in a bunch, market, some attention or some flows continue to go where it's safe, where there's liquidity, where there's buybacks, and that's tech. So anyway, what's this high here? 637. Today's a day for some weekly charts, but I don't want to scare people with the weekly charts. So weekly charts, you look at it, it looks like we're in nosebleed territory. It looks like, oh my goodness, holy cow, what a move. But then you just go back to the daily and, you see that we have had a nice active sequence. It has gone to the upside. First time we're looking to, get in this gap. And really, we'll see how today responds. If you trade actively for a living, you don't want to look that far ahead. You just also don't want to run through the jungle, and have monkey shit on your head. I'd rather you swing through the trees yourself. But this is a big level. So first thing it's got to do is get below and stay below, right? We talk about that all the time. So the Qs right now are down 8 at 624. It's not even in this gap. SPYs right now are down 7, not even at the 21-day. And we'll see. I would watch NVIDIA for some clues. I would watch, Apple's acting pretty damn decent, and then see what happens with, I would think, Amazon is worth a look. It's only down 3, right, with all that news coming out. So these would be the 3 names that I'm going to look at. Plus, you want to see what does Palantir do. Does Palantir hold 192, right? And come off lows and go back to like 198, 199, or does it break 192 and head down towards, that 186? So frame your thought process so you could execute with confidence and make the right decision at the right time. That's all you could do as a trader. Preparation, right trade at the right time, and see what's going on clearly so you're not in a position holding your breath and going underwater like some people are doing today. I am down some money, but you know what? I have some hedges on, and it costs some money to unwind, and who knows even if today's that day. So we'll see. Bottom line is, wow, it's 6:56. This is your 6:30 club. I'm going to go hang out with the Alpha team. The Alpha team is my crew. They're my dogs. Over 500 people around the world that trade real time for a living. We do it together. Thanks for tuning to the 6:30 Club. Some people want the 6:30 Club on a Friday. If you do, you have to subscribe to the Red Dog Mindset. I'm not doing 6:30 Club on Fridays unless, we're not even at the quota. So, otherwise it's just Monday through Thursday. And anyway, cooler heads prevail today. So, by the way, this is one of my screens. I'm an old school tape reader. I have over 12 of these where I'm looking at the price action. It helps with my ADHD and gives me a way to look at the day. Scott, your opinion? We have a lot of professionals talking up stocks and a lot of amateurs buying. All right. I know a lot of people actually, calling the top and asking for people to be careful and, caught short. So, bottom line is, again, here is the cues. Does it hold 624? Does it fill the gap? Does it fill the gap and put a tail like this? Remember this one and come up. We'll look at leaders, we'll look at situations, and we'll try and be responsible. That's all you can do. I appreciate you, my dogs. Alpha team, I'm coming. 40 charts coming up. Redler note will be out at 8:30. The morning call 8:15. And if you're a member of Red Dog Mindset, congratulations. Hopefully you're feeling good. Your mind is right. You had a nice little sweat, and you started your day off on the right foot. Later, guys.